Hey guys, so today we are making wonton noodle soup, and I am going to chop up some of my vegetables here. These are some green onions we're going to use to put in the wonton wrappers. Now, I don't have actual wonton wrappers. I have dumpling wrappers. I thought I had some in the freezer, but I looked and looked and looked and I didn't see any, so we're just going to use the dumpling wrapper. I think they're the same type of consistency. They're just, this one's round versus the square wonton wrappers that I usually have, but I didn't buy any because I thought I had some in the freezer. So we need half a cup of sliced green onions, spring onions here, which is what I am doing. Slice some of that up. I'm going to save some just to sprinkle on top of our noodle dishes as well. I have some more green onions, so I can wash some more. That's not a problem. Oops. I've already washed and cleaned all of these green onions already, so that's why you don't see the roots to these. All right, I think that should be about half a cup, right? I think that's more than half a cup. Let's see. Let's see my little measuring thing here. Here's half a cup, so let's measure that a little bit. All right, there's half a cup, and we're going to save these for toppings on our noodles. And I've already, these are my bok choy. Been washing them, setting them in water, and they'll be nice and crispy. This is the vegetables that we'll be using. So I'm going to dice up my shrimp here. I've already pre-weighed them out. 10 ounces of shrimp and 10 ounces of ground pork. That's why I like to cut all my vegetables that's cooking on this cutting board here ahead of time before I put any meat on there, raw meat on there. And I do like to separate my raw meat cutting board versus ready to eat food cutting board. And like I said, this is the dumpling wrapper. It's supposed to be wonton, but I think you can use this for wonton as well. They'll just be a little bit smaller because they're missing the edges. So let's put these together here. We're going to roughly chop this. We don't want it to be fine because we want some big pieces still so we can taste the texture of the shrimp in the wonton wrappers inside your wonton. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, this is my ginger that I had left over from the last time. I only need to use 1 teaspoon of ginger, so I'm going to cut half of this here. I should have kept my cutting board out still, but I didn't, so let me bring another cutting board out. Here's my cutting board for cutting vegetables. So let's do about that much right there. We'll wrap the rest of this back up. Save that for another time. I use 1 teaspoon of ginger here. Let me scrape the skin off. See, the ginger is very, very thin. The skin is. So all you have to do is just scrape a little off there. And let me grate it. See? I'll just go back and forth. It's more than a teaspoon right here. Let me throw this in here. My ginger. Brush all that in there. Ginger. This is about 3 cloves of garlic here. Use the rest of that. I had pre-chopped this ahead of time. That's why I have this in my little cute little container here. 1 tablespoon of soy sauce. Let me go ahead and get the dry ingredients in first. A teaspoon of sugar. Here's a teaspoon of sugar. Teaspoon of sugar. 1/4 teaspoon of salt. One tablespoon of oyster sauce. This is always hard to get. It's really thick. This is the brand that I use, Lee Kum Kee's Premium Oyster Sauce. Not the oyster flavor sauce, but the actual oyster sauce. Oh my goodness, got a little tight there with the opening, but here we go. 1 tablespoon of oyster sauce. Plenty there. Oyster sauce. Now we got 1 tablespoon of soy sauce, light soy sauce. Just because it's light doesn't mean it's lower sodium, it's just light in color. The dark soy sauce is gives the darker color, but it's actually not salty like this one. This one has like, what percentage of sodium? 54% sodium, but it says superior light soy sauce. 1 tablespoon of soy sauce and 1 tablespoon of rice cooking wine. Chinese rice cooking wine. 1 tablespoon, I'm sorry, not a teaspoon, 1 tablespoon. A little bit came out there. And just trying to get the sauce out. Let me just mix this in all together here while I have the spoon is dirty. Okay, I'm going to mix that some more later. I wanted to show you guys the shrimp that I have here. These are shrimp with head on. And I've taken one of the shrimp off already. This is the shrimp we're going to use. I've got some smaller shrimp here as well. Just going to peel this off here and use the shell for the broth, for the stock. Oops. There we go. Now I'm just going to remove it from its head, and hopefully I can get the inside will come out as well. We'll see. Nope, it did not come out. That means I'm going to have to slice this open and try to get the end out. The other one came out raw automatically with it. So try this one again. Okay, so I'm going to rinse this real quick. Okay, now what we're going to do with this is we're going to fry it up a little bit and brown it to get the fishiness smell out of it, because we don't want our stock to smell fishy. So I'm going to move it over to the stove, and I'll bring the camera over there for you guys. All right, we're going to turn the heat on, medium high here, brown it up a little bit. That will do. Let me go ahead and put my water in. There we go. And I've also got some shiitake mushrooms that I had soaked in water overnight, and I've sliced them. I've removed the center core as well, and I'm going to use the broth that came from the mushrooms too. That'll give an extra umami flavor. There. I like to have a lot of soup broth in my noodles. I also have some chicken thigh bones that I had kept from my chicken thighs that I bought with the bone in and with skin on. So I always shear the meat away, and I always reserve, I always keep the bones for something like this when I want to make stock for soups or noodles. So this will give us extra flavor here. That is about, I would say, 8 chicken thighs. Sorry, 8 chicken thigh bones. Just wanted to clarify that. Okay, I don't have fish powder, so what I'm going to use in place of that is this handashi, which is bonito soup stock. I'm going to use a teaspoon of that in place of the fish powder. So, let's put that in here. 1 teaspoon, 2 teaspoons of soy sauce, well, actually, this is for 4 servings, so I'm going to need to do 8 teaspoons of soy sauce. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. 8 teaspoons of soy sauce right there. I also need 8 teaspoons of fish sauce. Oops. Put the lid this way here. 1, 2, and 8. Okay. Let's put that up. 1.5 of salt. 2 teaspoons of salt. There we go. So as soon as this comes to a boil a little bit, I'm going to take out 3 tablespoons of broth from here and mix it in with my wonton noodle mixture. Just a drizzle. And let's mix that up. And you want to do this in the same direction. So I only need 3 tablespoons of broth, the stock, and scoop out 3 tablespoons here. 1, 2, 3. And once that cools down, I'm going to mix it in here. Back here, I'm going to go ahead and turn this water on. I'm going to go ahead and boil some noodles. And the noodles that I have are these 2 right here. So I've got this wonton noodles and I also got this egg white noodle. So I'm debating between the 2. I mean, they both, you can use either one. So I'll probably boil 1 of each just to see what they taste like, what the difference is. Let's put this reserved liquid in here. Let's mix that back in. This here. Okay, here goes my green onions. Okay, so the reason why we're going to boil these early ahead of time is so the broth doesn't get murky with that, and I'm going to submerge them in ice cold water as well afterwards. So there's 1 serving right there. We're going to cook this for only about a minute. Okay, submerge this in ice water for a moment. So give it its soft, bouncy, chewy texture. I'm going to boil it again 1 more time. You guys can see here, that is, try it real quick. Oh, it's a little hot. Yep, that's cooked. Now I'm going to just put it into this bowl for now. I'm going to make another one. Debating if I should try this one. Let me see what the difference is between this and that. So I've had this one in the freezer for a while, so hopefully they come out okay. This one. Okay, that's nice cold water. All right, one more time in the hot water. Hi, baby. There we go. All right, I'm going to blanch these shrimp in here real quick. Then we'll get the flavor from there too. I want it to have a little bit of a butterfly look to it, so I split it out some more. And this is what it looks like. There. And the shrimp's done. That's it. Okay, I'm going to wrap up some of the wontons. See if I need some little water here. So the edge of my wontons noodles or wrapper is a little dry because it's probably got freezer burn. So try my best here to get this in. There we go. See? It's a little freezer burn, so might have to cut those off. Maybe that'll solve the problem here. There we go. So I got 58 wontons here. Let's skim these off. We don't need these anymore. I want the mushrooms still. Mushrooms we want to keep. There. So this is typically used for like hot pot, these lobster balls, but I want these in my wonton noodle soup as well too. So I'm going to cook these, some of these into the broth, get some more flavor. I think 2 per person will be perfect. There. And I also bought these pork and black mushroom dumpling as well too, so that's going to go in there with the noodles too. And I wanted to give this a try. This is a shrimp, pork, shrimp, and shepherd's purse Asian style dumpling. And let's see which one I want. Scallop. Yeah, I'll probably get this pork and shrimp, pork, and scallop in there. I'm running the water here, getting that heated up, and I'm going to strain this. Where's my filter this. Okay, let me put this back in. Nice. Now, the broth. Let me add a little bit more hot water in here. So the broth is clear now. Let me try. Flavor's good. Okay, so this is how we're going to arrange it. Mushrooms. And get some shrimp. I'm going to cook these bok choy in here as well, but I want the base of it to be cooked and not the leaves, so I'm going to stick these in here like this. Okay. I think that is enough. Yep, nice and tender. So let's put the rest of it in here. Now we get the broth from the vegetable as well into the stock. Okay, these should be done. And that's it. This is wonton soup. There we go. And we are done, you guys.